We're doing this together, boys.
We're just all. What is everybody seeing on their screen right now?
Just saw a dunk.
Steph
just made a
Curry.
three.
Steph Curry. Okay, and now it's Woj.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. God, I guess we'll just do this together. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm wondering though how everybody is feeling about the winning against the Clippers the last game of the season right at this point. Is the regret seeping in about that win?
I haven't thought about that in a while. I mean, they won the coin toss.
Coin toss. The
Yeah,
coin
they
toss
won the
win
coin
made me
toss.
feel okay about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's tough, and I'm sure. Well, I guess the Clippers got what they wanted. They're in the West Finals, but it probably could have been easier for them.
Spencer, if Scotty Barnes was in last year's draft, do you think he goes 1?
No, not 1.
What about Kuminga? I'm just trying to figure out where the line is.
I mean, I could see like with Golden State. I think Anthony Edwards probably goes 1 still. Would they have taken him over Wiseman? Like, would he have been a better fit for Golden State than Wiseman? I mean, it's tough to put him with Draymond with the spacing there.
Is he better than Patrick Williams?
Yeah, I think that's the answer. I think he goes 4. John Hollinger actually wrote about that today in his big board. Talked about just how, and he has Scotty Barnes at 4 in this draft, I believe. Or no, he has a 3. He has Sengun at 4. He has Scotty Barnes at 3 in this draft behind only Cade and Mobley.
I meant to ask who he had because I saw his article today, but I didn't read it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a crazy order. It was Cade, then Mobley, then Barnes, then Sengun, then Green, and then Suggs. And he had Kuminga. I think he had like Franz Wagner at 7 and then Kuminga at 8, actually. So yeah, he definitely went a little bit against consensus there. But it's an interesting read. And yeah, he talked about sort of how Scotty Barnes is just a better version of Patrick Williams. And of course, they both came off the bench at Florida State, so you can compare their backgrounds and their production pretty similarly. But that Barnes is just better. So Barnes probably would have gone 4th last year, would be my guess.
Chandler Bing, Daily Thunder reader, asks if we land 1 and 2 or 5, or 1 and 2, 1 or 2 and number 5, does Presti is he then motivated to trade all future picks for a star like Cat, Fox?
No,
and Simmons?
I don't think so. I don't think Cat or Fox is available, and they're both still on super long-term deals. Maybe, and I know Ryan, I think, disagrees with me on this because they could ask out, and maybe you could come up with something, but I think the odds of that are pretty low. And you also need to remember that the Thunder's pick for next season, which is another loaded draft, is currently lottery protected to Atlanta from the Carmelo Anthony, Dennis Schroeder deal. So it would be ideal for the Thunder to not make the playoffs next season, I think. But we'll see. I mean, I also think that if Cat does become available, that you shouldn't turn that down, or Fox. Like you should pursue it. But I just don't think it's likely.
I think they just put a countdown on the screen that briefly went away. That 10 minutes until the first pick or till the picks are revealed.
10 minutes, okay.
10-minute warning.
Ryan, do you like Franz Wagner? I don't totally get it with him.
I mean, he's one of the. There will be a lot of 3-and-D talk about a lot of these guys. He fits that to a T. I think he's going to be really good. Like, I don't know if he'll be an all-star, but I think he's going to contribute wherever he goes. He has a very, very translatable skill set. I think most any team that gets him will be very happy.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's huge and he's got pretty quick feet. I think he's 6'9", and he can shoot. He's what level of shooter is he? Is he?
I think he shot 40%. He shot like 40% on like 6 attempts a game.
Yeah, I might just be. I mean, I know he had an awful Final Four game down the stretch. that kind of sticks in everybody's mind. I think it was against Gonzaga. But I don't know. That's a guy that, yeah, I keep seeing here. Well, shoot, he shot 34% from
I'm
three,
looking at it now. I was
but
thinking, of
80, but 83.5% from the free throw line. So, and his shots in the NBA are probably going to be more stationary, and he'll get better and all that kind of thing. So maybe he gets up into that 38, 39, 40 percentile. I think that's a reasonable projection. But I don't know. If I'm the Thunder, that's not a guy that I would be looking at.
I don't think they'll be in that range either way. Like I think 7's too early for him anyway. If that's the worst pick
Yeah.
they have, or if that's the
I mean,
pick they
they
have.
could trade up from 16, right? Like I
Yeah.
think they could. It's funny. I don't think that the Thunder will make a pick at 16 or 18 in almost any circumstance. I think they're going to trade up.
I think they could potentially use those two. Brandon and I were talking about this earlier, possibly going up to get Kai Jones if they don't think he's going to last past Charlotte. If Charlotte's like 11 or 12 or wherever they're at,
Yeah.
maybe getting up to get him. I don't know. That might be too expensive for him, but I think he'd be a great fit.
I think it depends on who else. Do they get Cade Cunningham, or is it like or did you strike out on those top four guys? Because if you're just coming away with Kai Jones, I think that's, or maybe like Kai Jones and Jalen Green, like guys that are going to take a little bit of time. I think that makes sense. But
in that scenario, I'm thinking we've already selected someone in the top 5.
Sure, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, Kai is just going to take some time. I mean, he's I believe he came to basketball late or later than most, and it's just still so raw. But and you think he's going to shoot it, but there's not necessarily proof of that yet. So that's sort of a wait and see deal. I would kind of rather take Sengun, even though it's kind of the opposite of Kai Jones in that he's not super athletic, not really a Presti type, but super skilled and really strong. And also projects as the 5 who can shoot it. So
he's really smooth.
Yeah. And like I said, he's up to number 4 on Hollinger's big board. And I was listening to a podcast, Chad Ford and Fran Fraschilla a couple of days ago. And Fraschilla, of course, is, an expert on the international prospects and has been for years. And he talked to, I believe it was actually, I'm going to butcher this name, but it was something like Amat Mbai, I believe is his name. He played at Oklahoma a few years ago and is playing in that league overseas, and told Fran that he's just so much stronger than people realize right now. Even for his age, I think he's still 18 years old, and he's still so strong and able to put up, I think he put up 19 points a game. Does that sound right, Ryan? In one of the 3 or 4 best leagues in the world.
Yeah.
So
he was like an automatic 20 and 10.
Yeah. Yeah, he's super impressive. But I don't know. I mean, he's not going to go 4th, but that's a guy where if the Thunder are sitting at 16, they've got what they've needed out of the top 5, and he's there at 12 or even like 8. I think that's a guy, maybe Presti sees some value there. I don't know.
We've talked about it before, but I do think they will come out of this draft with a big that they like. Yeah.
And it may be like if they miss on Mobley and, maybe they don't like Sengun because of the, he doesn't fit like a defensive archetype that Presti may want out of his 5s. Maybe it's like Isaiah Jackson, or maybe it's Kai Jones. Maybe it's somebody like that a little bit later in the first round. But yeah, I mean, especially with Moses Brown getting traded. I mean, does this roster, like Isaiah Roby is the only center on this roster right now, or is Tony Bradley still there, I guess? But yeah, they're going to have a developmental 5 for sure.
Don't forget Omer Yurtseven.
Yeah, is he still? No, is he still on the roster?
He was never on the 15-man.
Yeah, but he was like I don't know if they even have his rights anymore.
He was a summer. I don't remember if he was training camp.
I think he was in Exhibit 10.
Yeah, I think he was. I think
yeah,
he may have played for the G League. This shows, that was like
That sounds
300
right.
transactions ago.
Yeah.
We've got our first
No.
Davion Mitchell sighting in the comments. Are we
Oh,
4
God.
thumbs down on that, or is anyone?
Yeah, how about 8?
Oh,
Both
yeah.
thumbs. Like, I mean, what is he, like 22, 23? He's only had like 30 good games of being a shooter in his whole collegiate career. You count me out on that.
Spencer, is there any way you'd be excited about Jalen Johnson?
Yeah, if they take him in the second round. No, I'm kidding. I think you could take him. Like if somehow they use those early second round picks to trade up into the early 20s, I think that's fine. But not with a lottery pick. I certainly wouldn't. I mean, would probably end up talking myself into it because, Presti knows what he's doing. But on the surface, no, I don't. I think that he should fall to the 20s. I think there's better options.
This is for any of you guys. Would you rather have 1, or would you rather have 2 and 5?
Ooh,
So it's Cade or Evan Mobley plus Kuminga or Scotty Barnes. I think I'd rather have Cade, but I don't think it's. If you really believe in Mobley, I think that's a totally reasonable side to take.
I would say 1, and then I wouldn't be shocked if Presti would rather have 2 and 5.
Yeah.
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 Or if he got one that he wouldn't trade down.
Is
But
5?
if he's not where everyone else is on Cade, he's not going to pick Cade.
Is 5, 16, and 18 enough to get to 3?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
3,
if you think the last time there was a 3 and 5 trade made, I believe it was Luka Doncic for Trae Young, and the Mavs gave up a first in the next draft.
Sorry,
I think that's the big question is that to move up, I think you got to give a future pick. I'm not sure if you just load your current year picks you can move up into the top 3.
I think if you're starting at 5, you might be able to, but I don't know.
Here's one thing I don't think has been talked about enough. Like everyone knows about the incoming draft picks to the Thunder, but like that Luka Trae swap, like the Thunder's near future, their own draft picks are like some of the most valuable in the league as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
so it's not just about Houston and LA picks. It's like, you could sweeten stuff with Thunder picks in the very near future. I think that teams would really see as very premium.
To correct myself, we wouldn't be able to give 5, 16, and 18 in that scenario because we wouldn't have 18.
Oh, that's a good point.
So it would be 5, 16 plus maybe Baisley plus maybe something else.
Kenrich Williams, Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
Teo Maladon, maybe. Do you guys think Baisley survives draft night, especially if like Scotty Barnes and Jonathan Kuminga are one of the Thunder's picks? Because I don't see. I mean, maybe they hang on to him because he just doesn't have a ton of value. But I mean, it's tough to like. Baisley's probably not starting next year if you draft one of those guys. Baisley or Poku would have to come off the bench.
I don't know that Baisley's starting regardless. Like I think they're higher on Poku than they are Baisley.
Oh, for sure. I totally. I mean, I guess the question is, are they higher on Kenrich Williams than Baisley? I don't know.
It's the
Kenrich is better right now, but
the roster is so wide open, and whoever they pick up is going to be so young that.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
it's time. All right, I'm muting everyone. How can I do that?
Sounds good.
Let's mute ourselves.
Deep breaths. I brought my lottery representative, by the way. so far. Golden State at number 14. Indiana at 13. And you guys can feel free to unmute for any reactions you want to do.
New Orleans at 10 is big, like Ryan said earlier. They're a team that always jumps up. If this is Sacramento, it is. Okay, we're chalk so far through 9.
I literally cannot breathe.
All right, 8 needs to be Chicago. Ooh, it's Orlando. Chicago just moved up. Oh, wait, no, that means they stay because Orlando gets that pick, so that's good. Okay, so we're still chalk. Down to 7. This is danger. This is where the Thunder could show up. The Warriors. That means Minnesota fell out of the top 4. All right, here we go.
Oh,
Oh, that's brutal.
Dang it.
All right, 5. Who's 5? Dang. All right, so that's not the worst case scenario, but the second worst case scenario for the Thunder. 6 and 18, 6, 16, and 18.
Womp womp.
And the
Yeah.
Rockets dodge a bullet.
well,
Look, I mean, I think that it's obviously bad news, but I do think that the Thunder are going to be able to trade up into, into the 3, 4, 5 range. So we'll see how it unfolds.
yeah, 4 or 5 might be a possibility. I think trading in the top 3 will take future picks, and it might be worth it if there's the guy you want at 3, but
So Sim Presti felt something deep in his spirit. We all noticed he didn't seem exceptionally hyped for this.
well, now he can start planning. That's what he was waiting for. He just wanted the list, and then they'll plan accordingly. But he's going to have 800 options because of all the future picks and stuff that the team has. So I don't know. Not what the fans wanted. I'll tell you that. It kind of takes the wind out of the draft.
Who's in the top 5? So Orlando was 5. Who's left? So Houston is going to be in the top 4. Toronto is going to be in the top 4. Detroit is going to be in the top 4. And is it Cleveland? Man, what a gross group of franchises. Other than Toronto. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, and not that so Masai's future in Toronto is still somewhat up in the air, right? Or have I missed some reporting?
It seems like it's been up in the air for a while. I don't remember. I felt like he went into this season without an extension, but maybe it's next year that he doesn't have that his contract ends for. So yeah, I think Nurse is also somewhat up in the air. But I think we would have heard about that by now. I mean, the new league year is about to start.
There's speculation that he could still move this offseason, but who knows?
Interesting. I don't know, I mean,
Anyway, even if he were there, you're obviously not going to rip him off. But he's kind of a charts his own course kind of executive that could, make a bold move for the Thunder to move up.
I mean, yeah, that's a team where if you're talking about pieces that are on the Thunder's roster that might interest him. Like I could see him having interest in Baisley and Kendrick Williams, in maybe like Teo Maladon. But yeah, the good news is hard to find at the moment.
So our reactions from our audience includes small market complaining that it was rigged against the small market.
Well, I think we should say this was the most likely outcome, right?
They had a 75% chance of a top 5 pick.
Yes, but landing at 6 was the most likely outcome for the Thunder. They had a 27% chance. So, yeah, I mean
This is gutting. Like this is gutting. This is the worst.
All right, are we ready to do Meltdown 2.0 along with our commenters over the Clippers win?
Oh gosh.
I relived the Mike Muscala game winner meltdown when I watched Tyrese Maxey save the Sixers season in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was a
other night.
bummer. Yeah. I mean, yeah, look, this is obviously a disaster, but there are going to be other lotteries where the Thunder can make an impact. And I think that the Thunder could still end up trading up to like 4 and get Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs, and it's all gravy, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you remember in the Luka draft, the Mavs dropped to 5. They fell back a couple spots and got the best player. So I think we need to wait and see how this plays out.
And no one wants to hear it, but disaster is relative. With relative to the way they were set up, this is disastrous. But having 3 picks in the first round is not a disaster.
Right. Well, I mean, the Bulls really are the big loser of this, I think. I know nobody wants to hear that, but the Bulls and the Timberwolves both lost. They don't have any picks, and those are franchises that desperately need them, that needed a talent infusion. Did I miss them reading the top of the top 4? Or are we just doing a DeAndre Ayton interview in the middle of this?
They haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was about to ask the same thing because they're cutting to like Devin Booker warming up. I'm like, uh-oh. Okay, yeah. Gosh.
Yeah, if you guys want to talk about the Clippers pick and the coin toss, I mean, the Cavs made it in.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's painful.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
Okay.
So we're doing 1 here.
Yes.
Is this
Screw the
first or
Cavs.
4?
No, that's 3 now. I think that's Cleveland at 3.
Congratulations, Detroit.
The Rockets gonna get number 1.
No.
Oh, they got 2.
Nope. Pistons. Okay. I mean, not that Troy Weaver is going to trade Cade Cunningham, but there is a relationship there with Detroit. So you never know, I guess. Oh gosh.
So what would you give up to take number 1? How much would you trade?
A lot. I mean, all three picks, all 3 first rounds in this draft, any non-SGA player that they wanted, including Poku and Dort, and or some combination of like a couple like Clippers or Rockets assets, like what basically some collection of 5 or 6 assets or picks that Troy Weaver asks for, other than Shea.
I think Presti has the ammunition to get into 3 within reason, if he feels strongly about it, to get to number 3 or below. I can't imagine that if he really wanted it and thought it was worth it, he wouldn't go up that high. I think 1 and 2 is a little,
Yeah.
Who knows who could break in there.
This is interesting. I mean, so like Houston can take Mobley or Jalen Green. Cleveland, if Mobley goes 2, there's nobody really for Cleveland to take at 3 because they can't take Suggs or Green. So I think Cleveland is actually a pretty reasonable trade-up candidate.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. Royce Young tweeted that the last player picked at number 6 to make an all-star team was Damian Lillard in 2012.
Oh, man.
And Damian was old, so we got to pick. So we got to go Davion Mitchell, right? Guarantee that all-star slot.
Damian was older, but oh man. I
Okay.
mean, could the Pistons trade Cade? I don't know. Probably not.
I don't know. I was about to look at their roster.
I mean, they have Killian Hayes, they drafted at like 7 last year as a point guard. They have Isaiah Stewart. They have Sekou Doumbouya. They have a million veteran centers that aren't any good. Yeah, the worst case scenario here is Detroit taking Mobley and Cade just falling into Houston's lap.
That'd be pretty painful. And when was the last time the team traded its number 1 pick, number 1 overall?
It was Fultz for Tatum
Okay.
in 17, I think, 16.
Okay.
But that was from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
But it was also, I think, only like 1 extra pick. So,
I
Yeah.
would say-
Well, 1 and 3 is a lot different than 6.
I don't know. Is there a 3-team deal where Oklahoma City gets 1, Detroit gets 3, and Cleveland gets 6? Or Toronto gets 6? Snap mock draft from Jonathan Gavoni at Draft Express. Pistons, Cade. Rockets, Jalen Green. Cavs, Evan Mobley. Thunder, Scotty Barnes.
Like I would just rather not take him. I would rather not have him. Like I'm gonna try and channel like the chat. This is awful. It cannot be sugarcoated. This is horrible. They went through, like, as someone who watched 72 games this year and recorded words into a hot microphone for most of them. This is disaster. This is horrible. There's no way around it. Like Scotty Barnes and 16 and 18.
They can't take Scotty Barnes. They can't just sit at 6 and take Scotty Barnes. They have to trade up.
So, but now we are at the mercy of teams in better positions, which is the life of this team since Durant left. We are at the mercy of other teams. And I don't know how you can spin this in a positive light. Like, are the Bulls losers? Yeah, but they also play in Chicago. Like, this is horrific for Oklahoma City. This was
the question.
This was their huge chance, and I feel like they really missed it.
And I think we can all come together on that. Both are more emotional and less emotional, and more tanky and less tanky fans. So like the tanky fans, Team Tank wanted, Cade, Mobley, Green, Suggs, or more of them. And of course the anti-tankers didn't want to tank, right? Does this guarantee that we have more tanking in our immediate future?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, let's say that like the Timberwolves come and say, we'll trade you, we'll take number 6, and we'll give you 2 future first-round picks. Would you do that and just punt on this year and try to build more assets to get another chance at a top pick?
And it's another year of
not
as prime, but another lost Shea year.
No, I'm in trade up mode. I don't want to trade out of 6. I think that if you want to build something around Shea, now is the time to get, one of these 4 guys. And next year, I'm excited about next year's class 2, and we're going to be right back here a year from now doing the lottery thing.
Did Shea just become more or less tradable? I feel like
I don't
we
think
have
it's
to at
that.
least entertain the thought of Shea being moved. Cray has quite the look on his face. I feel like this is like, that's how bad this is.
We're on a timeline here, and that timeline was either going to align with Shea or it wasn't going to align with Shea. And number six, a guy at number six doesn't really feel like it aligns with Shea.
Couldn't agree
I
more.
don't, I'm not there yet. I think that Shea is going to sign a $180 million contract extension this year for 5 years, and they have time to continually like have a winning culture, build something around Shea, see how things develop, try to be aggressive in this draft, be aggressive, in other ways in the trade market. And I don't think this is, ask me after the draft and I may be as down on this situation as Ryan is, but I'm not there yet. I think that there's still a lot of maneuverability here, not nearly as much as anybody hoped or as there should have been, but I'm not in like total burn it all down mode yet.
Well, yeah, I think we gotta wait for the draft, but I'll tell you what, if we pick at 6 and that's our guy, I'm gonna feel really sick in my stomach. We either gotta
totally
move up
agree.
or we gotta move out and build future assets. 6 is
Yeah,
not
I
what
mean,
we need to.
6 is really bad. I mean, Scotty Barnes has some measure of upside, but like that's not. I mean, come on. Like, I think the upside comp for him is Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi took too long to become, what Oklahoma City needs to be for Shea's running mate, for Shea to still be here. So, yeah, I think that they will move up to 3 or 4, find a way, overpay, get it done, and Shea will have either Green or Suggs to run with. That's where I'm at right now.
So I'm gonna wildly speculate, somewhat informed, from Paul George to Russell Westbrook to Chris Paul to Al Horford, likely with Kemba Walker in the near future. Like all of there's been clear signs that the front office and the player have worked hand in hand. There's no surprises, right? And we know that Shea's on board with the team and the strategy. We don't know what was promised to him as far as, how many losing seasons are endured. We also don't know, the team didn't know he's going to be this good this fast either. So who knows, honestly, before Shea's season, before he, exploded this season, I don't think Presti had any intention of speeding a rebuild, like sitting through another 2, 3, 4 seasons out of the playoffs, right? And everything that's come out of his mouth is not like, he's not saying we're going to tank forever, but he is absolutely saying patience is key. We're not going to speed anything up. The plan is the plan. So who knows what Shea thinks? I don't think players cared that much about exactly where you land in the lottery, but who knows what Shea thinks about, the call after the draft is over and the deals are made or not made. And, Presti says, okay, this is not a playoffs. We're not going to try for the playoffs this year. Maybe he's expecting that. Maybe he's not. Maybe there is, some little, some handshake things going on, like have happened with other players, that, you play well, we support you. We're not going to imprison you on a tank team forever. That's speculation.
He's so young. I don't know. I mean, they're about to give him $180 million. Like, I think that's going to buy a little bit of goodwill. I mean, we just saw Devin Booker. He's in the playoffs for the first time. It's year 6. Shea's already been to the playoffs twice. I mean, and they were a 500 team this year before he got hurt. Like, I don't think Shea is like, I need to be on a contender right now. I'm 22 years old. It's my time. I don't think it's, I mean, could we look up in 3 years and Oklahoma City's trading Shea because he's unhappy? And can we point back to this night saying like, that's where it all started? Like that's where things started to go downhill? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. But I think that it's too early right now to go there.
No, I don't think Shea could expect us to make the playoffs or anything within the next 1 or 2 years. But now the question is too, where we didn't get the pick that we needed to get a game changer, or at least feel confident we got a game changer. We need to be bad next year, right?
Yeah, they're going. I mean, I don't think they're going to bottom out like they did this year, like go 2-23. But
we need to. I mean, I don't want the 8th best odds at number 1 pick. And the team when healthy wasn't that bad. And I don't think the team as constructed is a bottom 3 team. if Shea's healthy next year. And so, what are you going to do about that? Because does Shea want to play to win 25 games?
I do think that a Dort trade is more likely now that you talk through that. I mean, Dort's somebody that could really help a contender.
Is there a
And-
chance that Mobley falls past Cleveland like that? Is there a chance he doesn't get taken until 4?
No, I mean Cleveland has to take him, right? Because like they have spacing issues on the wing, so they can't take Kuminga or Barnes, and
Well,
they can't take
they got Jared
they have
Allen.
Sexton. Yeah, but I don't think they see him as like a super long term. I mean, maybe I guess the scenario here is Houston takes Jalen Green and Cleveland decides to move on from Sexton, and so they say, all right, we'll take Suggs and we'll believe in Jared Allen. But I think it's more likely that Houston takes Mobley at 2, or sorry, yeah, Houston takes Mobley at 2, and then the Thunder can trade up to 3 for one of the guards with the Cavs.
If you're Cleveland, though, would you rather have Jared Allen and Jalen Suggs or Colin Sexton and Evan Mobley?
I'd rather have Sexton and Mobley, but I don't know. I mean, Sexton was pretty good. I know he gets a bad rap for not passing it, but I think he scored 24 points a game this year pretty efficiently for – he's only, 22? I mean, I think he's the same draft as Shea.
We also don't know. We also don't know Presley's thoughts on future classes, future draft classes. This could be a year where he's totally out on the top 5 or 10 or whatever prospects coming into the draft. Not that he would ever, this early, before someone's 18 or 19, completely rule them out. But he could be less concerned about this year, but then also really like the year after. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, guys, like there's still like Amoni Bates is probably might be a better prospect than Kate Cunningham, right? Like,
Yeah.
Wambon, I don't know how to say his last name. Victor W, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Ty Washington. Like there are guys, and there's a few more that I'm not even naming that are going to be franchise chasing guys, and Thunder are going to be the Thunder are going to be in the lottery here with either with their own pick or somebody else's pick, likely for 5 years, 6 years. Like we're gonna do this again. So, and there will be other important nights, and maybe this one will buy a little bit of goodwill.
Here's what I'll say to channel the comment reaction, and I think we need to hear from Ryan again, without any cursing or anything. But the first comment I remember after the Clippers win at the end of the season, I can't remember who said it in the Daily Thunder readers, but was "Welcome to Oklahoma City, Scotty Barnes." And that feels like a haunting reaction at this moment. So kudos to whoever of you cursed us with that.
There are multiple wins that sting even more, and we jumped on post game shows to just vent about the possibility of those wins coming back to bite them, namely Boston, namely at Milwaukee without Shea, the last night of the season, at Toronto. Like Toronto looks genius for pulling the plug and not going for the play-in. Like if you want anything encouraging from me, you guys are gonna have to start talking.
No, I'm getting there too. I'm rewinding back to being upset after wins because, like I said at the time, it's like, okay, was Al Horford, we just had it. What was the best, turnaround from the Al Horford being on the roster and winning us a couple extra games? Pick number 16, right? Was that worth it? George Hill, who the Thunder could have flipped, in the offseason before. What was the value in sitting on him to cough him up to the Sixers? was it worth it? Like all the,
I see what you're saying, but I think Oklahoma City did all they could, and maybe even a little bit more. Like, I mean, that's my perspective. I think that, I mean, yeah, there are teams that jumped Oklahoma City that had worse odds than the Thunder. It's just, this is all gambling, right? Like, the Thunder got unlucky tonight, but I think that they did just about all they could, especially with resting Dort down the stretch. I mean, they finished the season 2-23. I mean,
No, I don't fault them.
know.
I don't fault them for how they. I mean, I don't say that to say I blame the way that they handled the season for what happened tonight, because like you're saying, so much of it is out of their control. But it is. I mean, this is a night of chance, and those wins hurt their chances.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they won 5 games without Shea this year. I would point to that more than like a Horford or Hill thing.
Agreed.
Well, it's
But
all of those
again,
things, right? I mean, it is
Yeah.
it's through all of them.
and it's just straight luck. I mean, it's just this is like a 25% chance of this happening, which sounds low, but that is substantial, and it happened. So it's a bummer, but again, I think that they're going to trade up. I think Presti will overpay and take one of the guards, one of the really exciting prospects, and it'll just be like the Thunder landed at 4, right? Like,
I will say there's been a positive sighting in our comments. Franz says he really likes Scotty Barnes and thinks he could be a superstar. So
Franz Wagner?
Yeah, Franz Wagner said that. I was reading Chad Ford reported apparently within the last week or two that Oklahoma City has Barnes at number 3 on their board. So I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I mean, who knows? But that has been out there.
okay, I think let's wrap it up.
Should we do predictions?
Yeah, we need to do a roundtable on like, okay, each of us, let's do where the Thunder draft at. So 3 questions. Where the Thunder draft at, like what slot is their best pick. We don't have to worry about all the domino effects of how they trade to get there. So where they draft at for their first selection in 2021, who they pick, number 2, and then win total for the upcoming season.
They're playing 82.
I think that's the plan.
Yeah. I think they draft Jalen Green at number 3, and I think they win like 27 games.
I would say I think they'll draft the best available player at 4, and win like 25. I'll say they'll win 5 or 6 too many games.
Okay, well, and let me do so at their win percentage last year would have been a 25 win season in an 82 game pace.
I mean, this next year's team is probably going to be worse just because of how many rookies that are going to be on. I mean, they have 5 draft picks. I assume they'll consolidate to 2 or 3. I don't expect Kemba Walker to play a tremendous amount, and we'll see what else they do. But I think next year's team is worse than this year's team.
I'm gonna be hopeful and say Jalen Green at 3. Win total identical, 22. Only worse since it's an 82 game season.
Well, I'm gonna say welcome to Oklahoma City, Scotty Barnes, and win 31 games next year.
Oh, the darkest timeline.
Yeah, God, that sounds terrible.
I'm feeling dark.
Scotty Barnes,
it
you're
sucks.
welcome. Scotty Barnes, you're welcome on the Daily Thunder podcast anytime you want.
Well,
and
Scotty
here's
Barnes
the
come
thing.
Oklahoma City and prove us all wrong. We've been dogging on you the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
How many?
The poor
how many-
the poor prospect who's worked his whole NBA career and loves the Thunder organization gets picked as a lottery pick at number 6, and the fans are like, "No, we want to be bad."
Wait, is Scotty
If you're-
Barnes a Thunder fan?
I don't
Is that
know.
a
I'm
thing?
just saying, but it's just a weird situation. There's a lot of weird
I-
draft situation, but it could be very weird for that player.
If the Thunder do take Barnes at 6, I think it would take approximately 2.5 summer league quarters for the Thunder fan base to talk themselves into Scotty Barnes. So, I mean,
We don't have Brandon.
everything
Brandon will
feels
be on
down
here.
right now, but
Brandon will be telling us how great Scotty Barnes could be, and that he sees a lot of
poor
upside.
Brandon.
He'll
Brandon's
pick the
with a
shot.
group of people.
Yeah,
Brandon's
Poor
MIA.
Brandon. Poor Brandon has to record podcasts with me leading up to the draft.
Oh,
I wore my bombing memorial jacket as well. Thought it would bring us some good luck.
Some Oklahoma City, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is really bad, but I don't think it's a nail in the coffin. Is how I would summarize it.
maybe we do need to put a nice little bow on this. You should wrap up your current emotions in one word before we close it.
You first, Spencer.
Unsatisfied.
I'll say gutted.
Pessimistic.
pain.
Yeah, it's the pain gif.
Next.
Bewilderment. It'll be okay.
I'm gonna go for a long walk, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll conclude us caring way too much about ping pong balls and guys throwing a round leather bouncing ball at a basket, which is what we do at Daily Thunder. And we'll figure out how to complain or be excited about the draft to come, the trades to come, and the year to come. And we need to get Brandon on with Ryan ASAP to cheer everybody up. All right. Well, thank you guys for streaming with us. Thanks everyone for watching. Sorry it was not a happier result, but thanks for supporting Daily Thunder. Make sure if you haven't checked it out already, check out our Patreon, check out our merchandise at shopgoodokc.com. Shoot us your comments, reactions, questions, everything. We appreciate you all, and you'll hear from us again soon.
See you soon, Scotty.